Hello, American Africans, my family. It is an honor to speak with you all today about difference between foundational Black Americans and American African DOS, descendants of slaves. So, foundational Black Americans is just a name. It's just a classification. It's just a nomenclature. This is what the originator of this nomenclature has said, and this is Tariq Nasheed. He has publicly stated that this name, Foundational Black Americans, FBA, is not intended to be anything other than the ethnic designation. That's it. So because it's just a name, I'm going to focus on the person who actually created the name, not the name itself. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I need to explain why I don't go by that name, right? Why do I go by a different name? So again, this is a nomenclature that was created by Tariq Nasheed. And I personally feel from my own personal opinion, however, it is based by fact, which we're going to go over. Tariq Nasheed is anti-Black female, and specifically anti-Black dark-skinned female. And I obviously do not agree with that as being a dark-skinned female. So again, although this is coming from my opinion, this is actually based on facts. And again, I'll go over the numbers with you. But the point is, when you count the number of times Tariq calls out straight Black men for different things, he'll call them coons or bedbugs or sambos, whatever. And then you compare that to the number of times he calls out Black women for the same things, well, whether it's bedwenches or mammies, thoughts, or whatever. And he'll have this whole negative commentary on either gender, right? What you find is the ratio is a bit abhorrent. Actually, it's you could statistically, and I mean mathematically, describe it as anti-Black female. So to be specific, for every one negative remark Tariq makes about straight Black men, he'll make, on average, this is on average, 25 negative remarks about Black women. Now, I don't know about you, but that ratio is disgusting to me. And, you know, I want to make this clear. I'm all for calling out bad behavior from either genders, Black men, Black women, white men, white women, whatever. The problem comes when you're doing this analysis and you realize, this is off. And this is off in a big way. The ratio is, you literally can't justify it mathematically to be anything other than Black female hatred. Period. Again, you all need to do this on your own. You add up the numbers. This is called simple analysis. It's not difficult. You can go to his YouTube, his Instagram, his Twitter, whatever. You could do the comparison analysis yourself. It's really easy. You're just counting, okay? And you do the ratio of degrading comments towards Black women, and you'll see it's specifically dark-skinned Black women. And you'll also see that this far exceeds the level of vitriol towards straight Black men. Again, this is my opinion, but this is all based on facts. Add up the numbers for yourselves. And I want to say something really specific. If you remember nothing from this video today, I want you to remember this quote. This is to help you out because it helped me out a lot. If you ever doubt yourself about anything at all, and I'm talking about whatever subject, anything, remember this. When in doubt, count. I'll repeat that again. When in doubt, count. What that means is that if you question anything, whether you're talking about someone's motives or their values or the character, whatever, it could be anything across the board. You're going to have to go back and say, okay, well, I don't know if I'm looking at this objectively or if I'm biased. What is going on? So you say, okay, well, let's do a numerical analysis. Let's do a statistical analysis. Let's see what's going on and let's see the numbers because the numbers don't lie. So you start to count. In counting, what you realize is that you'll figure out who that person really is. The numbers don't lie. The numbers will tell you who they are. And if you count it and do the ratio yourselves, you'll reveal exactly who that person is, their beliefs, their character, what they think, their innermost thoughts. It's really crazy, but it's like literally mathematics based on psychology. So it's very interesting analysis. And basically that tells you everything you need to know about that person. So again, Tariq Nasheed is anti-black female. And I'm not, again, this is not me, this is not Christine, this is literal numbers. And I had to do it, again, I had to do it myself because at first I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm hearing. It doesn't sound very good to my ear. And I'm trained enough to know these things. So let me look further into it. And then I was appalled. I was like, I can't believe I missed all of this. So this was a real eye-opening thing and a real eye-opening realization for myself. And again, numbers don't lie. So when you go by the numbers, it's just a real disproportionate amount of anti-black female sentiment. Now, I will say this, there's also plenty of LGBTQIA plus negative remarks and such like that, but majority of the hatred is spewed towards black women, and specifically you'll notice it's dark-skinned black women, so that's even worse, but I digress on that. If you claim that name, Foundational Black American or FBA, that's your choice, okay? You do the analysis on your own or don't. You do you. But my advice, as I mentioned, don't forget, when in doubt, count. Because you'll have a realization and hopefully, you'll come to your senses about anything that you're trying to choose and what route you're trying to take for yourselves. And my advice for black women, especially dark-skinned black women, is to just think about what tribe you want to associate with and, make your choice based on your analysis. Don't just pick a name or a tribe that you feel you connect with only. You want to connect with it, and you want to connect with the values and the beliefs and the standards that are behind it. And again, because this is only a name, I don't necessarily put the name in with the person. I don't think, obviously, Tariq is the spokesperson per se, but he's the one who coined the term. So I want to separate myself as much as possible from someone like him. So that name is not in my nomenclature. I don't go by it. I don't associate with it. It's not in my reality. Okay. So let's go through this because there's a lot of differences, obviously. All right. So again, these are just direct quotes from the person who coined the term, Foundational Black American, FBA. So basically, okay, so Black culture, Black history, and how to conduct business is all you need to know. So we believe that you need a thorough political education. That's absolutely necessary. He has said that he's not a leader. We think the opposite. We feel all of us are leaders. And this is not about too many chiefs, not enough Indians. This is a all hands on deck type of situation, especially right now in what our people are going through here in the United States of America. So we need as many intelligent leaders as possible. Okay, so we culture only. So that's basically stating that, like we stated, this is not per se a tribe or a group or anything. It's just a name. But again, you either choose to go by the name or you don't. Our motto is to know thyself. Know who you are. Know what you're here for. Know what your purpose is. Know your identity. Know your mission. Know yourself. Okay. So the next is, again, ethnic designation only. Ours is specific, right? We have American lineage and African bloodline, specifically West African. Tariq has stated that he supports a leaderless movement, or he's in some sort of leaderless movement. Great for him. That's not what we're doing over here, especially not in the situation that we're currently in and that our people face. We need an infinite leadership class. In fact, that's necessary. We feel, obviously, as American Africans, we feel that that is absolutely necessary right now at this point in time in our historical timeline. All right, so the next thing is do what you want as an individual. Basically, it's to say, again, there's no leadership in place, so there's no formal direction. There's no public documentation or on their standards or values, beliefs. Again, there's not a lot to go by because this is what he says is just a name. So, okay. We have a lot that you can go by if you choose to connect with our tribe. We have a Black agenda as outlined on our website. So it gives you a lot of information so that you can make an informed decision on who you really are. All right, let's go now. So next is creed. All right, so black women are bedwenches. Black men can do as they please. Now, again, this is going back to the other points that I made previously. The whole bedwenches thing. This is going to be a little bit different of a conversation, even though it's kind of connected. So, to be clear, when black men marry and procreate with white women, Tariq tends to turn them into victims of white supremacy. But the opposite is true when it's black women who are marrying and procreating with white men. So, the hypocrisy is very strong, and that's why I specifically put black men can do as they please, because it's not so much as they're not doing the same thing as black women. It's just that he doesn't feel like it's the same level of grievance. So again, it's the hypocrisy I can't understand it myself, so I'm just explaining it to you the way I know. But so basically, so if you're a black woman, he'll call you, and especially I've noticed dark skin, and I'm not referring necessarily to ethnicity. As American Africans, obviously we're focusing on ourselves, but I'm just speaking in general, just from listening to him and reading his comments, etc. So he'll call dark-skinned women bedwenches if they're procreating or marrying with white men. Bedwenches, thoughts, mammies, etc. He doesn't really do as much, and again, the same thing I mentioned earlier, when it's the opposite. So again, this is not me, this is not Christine. When in doubt, count. When in doubt, count. But even more on this, which is really perplexing, is this. When you actually do the statistical analysis on black men who, in the United States, now we're talking about the United States of America, who marry or procreate with white women, you realize that they do this at a rate of 2.5 times more than black women who marry and or procreate with white men. So you're talking about black men who do this very thing at more than double the amount that black women do this very same thing. So, and I'll put the source of this statistic in the description box below so you can check it out for yourself. This is not me making this up. This is actually data. So, when Tariq criticizes black women to the point of, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not caping for necessarily every single ethnicity. I'm just talking in regard to just the rhetoric, okay? So specifically when it's dark-skinned black women, when he's criticizing them to the point of demonization for the exact same thing that black men are doing at more than double the rate, and he'll use the black men as, he'll put them in the light of as victims rather than, the folks who are responsible for what obviously all of this amounts to. It's insane. It's really insane, because you're looking at the raw numbers, the raw data, you're looking at the real numbers, and black men, which again, based on statistics, are doing this more than double. They're the ones who are the real genetic annihilators of the black race. So with this, and again, this is not me, this is the numbers, this is what it states. So when Tariq literally flips reality on its own head, you kind of have to wonder, okay, what is going on in his mind? Because if he were in fact serious about this talk about white supremacy and, just making a point of being, loyal, etc., to the race, etc., then when you see who the real exterminators of the black race are, you have to question, why on earth would he not be speaking about that more? Like, bedbugs, right? At 2.5 times more, that's double, more than double. I mean, the logic is not there, right? So you have to kind of question, okay, there's some delusion here. Either that or there's just real nefarious intention. So again, the anti-black hatred is extremely real with him. So we neither condone, let me go to our side. So we neither condone nor dissuade interracial coupling. And we're going to post something about that. And basically it's to the fact that we promote, as a tribe, we promote self-love. So when you self-love, you automatically love those like yourself. But again, this is not to demonize or say anything negative about interracial coupling. That's your choice. Again, it's always your choice. And seeing that the statistics are really bad for dark-skinned Black women, you really have to be out of your mind to not at least give that option open just based on sheer statistics, unless you want to do some other type of model for procreation, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we don't really go into that. We promote self-love. That's our thing. So, okay, next thing is, now he said this out of his mouth, okay? Single Black mothers should not get reparations. This has been documented. I've heard it. Many of you have heard it. It's out there. So if he's changed his mind, he needs to state that publicly, but it's out there. That alone, I don't even know why any woman would follow this or go by this name. I can't fathom it, because there are so many Black women in our community, being American Africans, just knowing our history. This is a lot of what, women in our community experience. So I don't know. Okay. So anyway, for us, as we've mentioned time and time again on this channel, higher West African DNA, higher compensation. All right. Next is biracial women are Black too. So this is where, you can see the hatred for just Black women, specifically dark-skinned Black women, and we go into DNA and genetics and stuff like that on other videos. But basically, we're not trying to say that biracial people are not Black. That's not what we're here to do. But just going back to his comment, when he refers to biracial women are Black, he's saying basically a hypocritical statement that biracial men are not Black. So that's where the hypocrisy comes in, because he's stating that one is Black and one isn't Black, and that just doesn't make any sense. And that's where you can also see the anti-Black female hatred, specifically dark-skinned Black female hatred, because in this case, he's kind of saying that this is who you can procreate and marry with, and this is who they are genetically, et cetera, when actuality, at least for us as American Africans, we don't determine who's Black. We don't say who's Black. So anyway, with his warped mentality, it's astounding. But to clarify, when we say 60% West African DNA, we're referring to those who would qualify for our reparations program. Again, I'll say this plenty of times so that hopefully everyone understands this. We're not here or trying to say who is or who is not Black, especially if you've had and lived the Black experience. What we do as American Africans, we're stating and we're having standards for those of us who claim to be us. Not Black, but claim to be us. Okay, so we hope that's clear. All right, so Tariq suggests, and he has suggested time and time again, do not vote. We are definitely against that. We vote for our own people into U.S. Congress. And right now there's conversation, obviously, about the 2020 presidential election, in which case, as American Africans, I like to say that we are promoting the protest vote because of the Democratic loyalty that we've had, and they've just been very disrespectful and disloyal back to us. So that's what we're doing. But anyway, the point is you should vote. You should definitely vote. And if you're not sure how voting works for our benefit, because it doesn't seem like it has, and trust me, it hasn't, we're starting to put more examples, and we're going more into it on our Twitter account. So please be sure to subscribe, or rather follow our Twitter account. Okay, next. Black culture, history, economics, and business. So basically that's what he feels is the best for foundational Black Americans. What we feel is all subject matters, particular focus in U.S. politics. So Tariq has a FBA conference on history, economics, and business. I mean, it hasn't occurred yet, but obviously this is what he's been promoting. We promote a U.S. political education tour of the 7 southern states. And these are the states that we plan to hopefully move our people to in large numbers. Okay, so that's about it. Again, if you feel like this tribe, FBA, Foundational Black Americans, if it resonates with you, great. I don't know how it would with women, but for men, if you're a man, I can see how you would go for this tribe, you would feel at home in this tribe. But if that's the case also, I don't see, if you're a man, I don't see how you would also feel comfortable in the American African tribe. So this is, again, this is why we differentiate. This is exactly why we differentiate, because the men who are in the FBA tribe, we wouldn't even consider a part of the American African tribe, like completely different ideologies. So that's that. And if you're a woman and you're inclined to join FBA, I would just say, leave you on this note: when in doubt, count. And that wraps up today's message. I want to thank each and every one of you. I appreciate your time, and I hope today's message uplifts, inspires, and elevates you. Goodbye, family.